so many hats over there and wonderful hats. So Tracy, glad to have you with us. And in the hot seat this morning, we do have with our guest and going to find out some good information. We have Josh Haley. Everybody knows him around town. Josh Haley, a local right here and with Temple and Temple. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Becky.
And this is your first time on Coffee Club.
It is.
Yay.
Yeah,
Welcome to Coffee Club, right?
Yeah, thank you.
The only show that calls Coffee Club, but we actually don't supply the coffee. Everybody's like,
if you're like me, you're up at 5 and you've had plenty already.
I got 4:30 this morning, so I'm good.
Okay, I love that. Well, we used to have the coffee pot right here in the middle of us, and then it would make the weird sounds, the coffee sounds. So then we were like, we can't do that, and then we had some spills and stuff. So we kind of just, and my engineer was like, get that away from all the equipment. So anyway, but everybody's like, where's the coffee? So glad to have you with us this morning. And Tracy, let's thank our sponsors.
Yeah, we're going to thank Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Roses, Fox Perley Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Marshall Monuments, McAllister Land Consulting, First Harrison Bank, Louisville Bats, Schneck Hospital, and Springs Valley Bank and Trust.
Also, I want to remind everybody, this is Memorial Day weekend.
It is.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Time,
It just has flown by.
Yeah, really, yeah. And so that was like crazy to think that we're already into that. But Holiday World, so we'll be going to check my Facebook page because we'll be giving away some Holiday World tickets to some lucky winners, and we're all ready for some fun time, right?
Yeah,
and
fun in the sun.
Yeah. Josh, you ever been to Holiday World?
I have.
You love it?
Yeah, my kids really like it.
Are you a thrill seeker?
I enjoy the roller coaster. I do.
Yeah.
So
you're probably used to like going up on high, right?
It doesn't really faze me. I like it.
Yeah, love that. What about you, Tracy?
Yeah, I not so much as I've gotten older, and I'm terrified of heights. So
you just look like with one eye open.
The roller coasters at Holiday World don't bother me, but some of those at like Kings Island and stuff.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm anxious to go. I'm ready to get, and I love their blue ice cream. I always got to get some blue ice cream and enjoy Holiday World. So that'll be going on. Also, we had a lot of schools letting out, a lot of little graduations, and this weekend actually we have West Washington, Eastern, and Salem graduation. So that's exciting, big weekend for our county. And I was at Brady Schramm yesterday afternoon when the buses were letting out. And the teachers were crying. And I love that. What I mean? It was like, I love to see that. I mean, how much that those children mean to them. And I love that. So that was really cool. Good to get to watch that. You don't usually like to see people cry, but the love. And then you see the children crying too. So you love that connection. Yeah. So anyway, that's exciting. And then the Eastern ladies tennis team took the victory and big rivalry. They beat, they beat the other day Floyd Central, which was huge. I think, now I might be wrong, so I stand to be corrected, but I think Floyd Central held the record for like 22 years, had been the sectional champions. So they beat them. And then last night, then they beat Borden, and then they won it all. And so everybody was like, what's all the fire trucks and the flashing lights? They're celebrating.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yes, that was celebrating the Lady Musketeers. Awesome. Yeah. And it was so cute. So when they got a little closer to town, they all got on top, and they were just so cute up there. And I'm yay for the tennis team. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, that's good.
So I love that. So, and I like that, they did a little bit of upsetting the other schools, So. Now you see us.
Yeah.
All right. We're on to the 23rd day of May. Today is, let's see here, Don't Fry Day. Do you, let's find out, do you do a lot of frying at home, Josh? Or does frying, like fried food? Or?
Not a lot, no.
Yeah. Oh, no, this is not like frying food. This is like Fridays in sunscreen. Okay, sorry. I was like, I was reading this at Friday. I was like, Friday, who doesn't like a good French fry? How can we? But Friday. So do you use sunscreen?
It's funny you say that because a couple weekends ago we were big on the getting the garden planted, and I made the mistake of not putting it on for a couple hours. So I've been fighting sunburn here for the last couple of weeks. I'm just now getting over it.
Yeah.
I've got some kids that are very light complected, so we're pretty big on the sunscreen.
Yeah.
Try to be.
Slip, slop, and slap, right?
Yes, pretty aggressive.
And those boys, you probably have to do it quickly.
Yes.
I mean, you've only got seconds to get that on there.
Yeah. The spray works well.
Yeah. No doubt. What about you, Tracy?
If I'm here local, then I probably don't wear it as much as I should. But if I go to like Florida or somewhere, like I'm putting it on every 5
Game
minutes.
on. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So definitely, put that sunscreen on. Let's see here. This is also Lucky Penny Day. So Josh, if you see a penny on the ground, will you stop and pick it up?
I will do my best.
That's wise man. There you go. What about you, Tracy?
I will.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And if it's heads up, isn't that right? It's supposed to be really lucky or something. I don't know. I heard someone that said they anytime they find a penny, they turn it heads up for the next person so that it'll be lucky for them.
That's kind of cool.
That's cool. National Cooler Day. I have this big cooler, and I got it during COVID. Like it was so cheap, you know what I mean? Because nobody was doing anything, you know, and it's like ridiculously big. And I think people sometimes have like look at it like they might be a little jealous of my cooler.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm thinking, So National Cooler Day. So, those are important. National Road Trip Day. Josh, you like road trips?
Not really. No, I'm a person used to travel a lot. So anymore, I'm the person who wants to go to Louisville, get on a plane, and if it's more than a 3-hour drive, I'm flying.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
I love that.
Yeah. I can't stand the drive anymore.
No. Does Jamie? She like that too? She
does. Yeah. You know, we have four kids.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those that if we're going to do a long road trip, I like to leave like 9 at night so that everybody sleeps. And
that's the way to go. Yeah.
It makes it easier on us.
And then how many times on the road trip are we there yet? How much longer?
It's awful. I mean, I love everybody stops to go to the bathroom, and then 10 minutes later somebody's decided, oh well, now I have to go.
Yeah, I know.
That's always a nice one.
That's the best. Yeah. What about you, Tracy?
I'm kind of the same. I have taken a couple long road trips in the last year or so. I mean, 8 to 10 hours, and it's awful.
Painful. Yeah.
But I'm usually on a mission to get there and get back, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it would probably be all right if you're driving just like a couple hours and stopping and enjoying a town or
right.
something.
Yeah.
Moving on, but
I like a good road trip personally. Yeah. National Taffy Day. Josh, you like taffy?
I do.
Yeah. Is there a certain flavor?
Probably strawberry. I love artificial strawberry about anything.
Artificial strawberry. Wait, you are the very first person.
Yeah,
I love the artificial strawberry.
Yeah.
Here, wait. Now we have the strawberry festival going on this weekend in Borden, which is huge.
Yeah.
And here, artificial strawberry.
I do. Well, I like regular strawberry also.
But I love that so much because you know how many people that'll say, "I don't like the artificial strawberry." And
I love it. I do. I'm the person that goes to like Steak and Shake and says, "I don't want the strawberries in it. I want artificial strawberry flavoring in my
Josh
milkshake."
Haley, that is hilarious. That is you are the first. Okay, I love that. Love that. What about you, Tracy?
I like strawberry. Or we're talking about taffy though.
Yeah.
Right? Like Laffy Taffy.
Yeah, love Laffy Taffy.
I don't like saltwater taffy.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a fan.
Okay. I like it all, but I do love that Laffy Taffy. Yeah. National Title Track Day. Okay. The title and track of your music. National Wig Out Day.
That's me every day.
Let's see here. World Turtle Day.
Oh,
yeah.
The turtles.
I've seen a lot of turtles on the road, and I'm one of those that will try to pull over and help them across the road, you know. And so it was so funny. So one time I got a snapping turtle. So I'm trying to save your life, and I'm shooing him, you know what I mean? Trying to shoo, and he's like snapping, and I'm like, I'm going to leave you here and let you have, but I got him across the road.
Oh,
yeah. But it was a little bit of he was chapping at me or snapping at me. So yeah. But anyway, that's the way it goes. But all right, so let's talk, Tracy. As far as Salem Crossing, you guys are hopping and bopping over there, and just done some fun stuff. You activities and stuff.
Yeah, for
celebrating.
Week and so moving on. I think the next big thing will be CNA week. I think it's maybe like the second week of June. So we'll be celebrating the CNAs all week and doing fun things for them.
Party day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a garden going on over there,
Uh-huh.
flowers
Yeah.
and activities.
All things for the residents, and they're
Yeah.
always doing fun stuff.
Yeah. And now the weather's like getting better.
Yeah.
Of course, this week is a little cold,
I
but
know.
it's getting a lot better. Now you can kind of get out and do.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys do a great job, Salem Crossing. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, Josh, let's talk about you a little bit now. All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and everybody will know your family.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Salem.
Mm-hmm.
I've been with Temple and Temple 17 years.
Wow.
I have been his CEO for about the last not quite a year. Ken Temple is the other owner of the company, and great company. Been in business 78 years. It's a long time. It's actually something to really be proud of. There's not a lot of companies that can say that they've been around that long and stayed successful through multiple generations. Multiple individuals that have done a very good job, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Work-wise, it's one of those that kind of started from the bottom.
What is starting from the bottom? What, like, are you like hammering a nail?
Yeah.
I mean, what would be the skill level? What's the?
I'll be honest. Round point's probably your best friend. One of those round point shovel.
Oh, well, I was gonna say,
yeah.
you need to. We don't know all your lingo over there. Okay, Tracy and I are like.
Yeah, I understand.
Round point. Okay, a round point shovel.
Yes,
so you were like a digger.
I was. Yeah. So I mean,
that's like a lot of hard work, right?
Yeah. So I started in 08, $11 an hour.
Love this.
I mean, it was one of those that it was a challenge out of the gate. It really was. But I'm a pretty quick learner, so it's one of those that picked up quick. Cared about what I was doing. Natural talent for operating always helps. So.
Well, okay, I'm not done with the digging. Okay, so you start off, okay, and so were you freshly out of high school?
So my mom and stepdad owned the greenhouses, so I actually worked for them until that dissolved.
Love the greenhouse, yes.
Yeah, and then actually just was hunting for something else to go to, and this is where I came, and I've never left.
Okay, so let's go back on the digging. Okay, is there a certain way, because we're all digging right now with our gardens and digging, right, and planting trees and doing all that we're doing. Is there a certain like skill, like is there a certain secret on how to get that deep dig? I mean, is there a certain like, do you do several digs, or do you dig several like shovel? I guess. Like, is there any certain like ways to do it a little smarter, not, or what am I trying to say? Work hard, smarter, not harder.
The right tool for the job always helps.
Okay, so, I mean, there we go. The right tool. Maybe that's where I go wrong.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, if you try to take a snow shovel out and dig up a tree, it's not going to go the best.
Not going to happen.
So,
okay.
It's one of those that the right tool for the job always helps.
Right.
And
well, the reason I'm asking is because there's got to be some skill levels that you learned how to do, right? I mean, I love starting out at the beginning like that, learning like to dig and to appreciate. And I'm sure that that's a great way, to kind of get introduced into it all.
Yeah, grade is always the best skill to learn out of the gate. Understanding water runs downhill, so it's one of those that no matter what project you're working on, grade normally always matters, whether that is laying pipe, or you're going to do a foundation on a house, your sidewalk out front. It can't be too steep. No matter what you're really working on, elevation normally always matters in whatever project you're working on. So a good understanding of that normally get you a pretty good step in the right direction right out of the gate.
So I learned this last week as I'm trying to lay a new flower bed, like landscaping rock, and I'm like, oh, it's going to go along great, single row all the way around. No.
Yeah, and
you don't even notice.
It's a perfect example. I mean, it doesn't really matter what project you try to conquer.
Yeah.
Normally, elevation always pertains to it in some way. So I mean, it's a good trait to learn.
I mean, to me, to the naked eye, it looks like it's just flat all the way across. But then when you start actually digging, I mean, my yard goes uphill at some point. You don't even notice it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. I'm amazed at, and I learned this like the last few years, that like anytime you change the lay of the land, it messes. I mean, it changes the flow of the water. It changes. I mean, just like if you like put like if you dig, let's put a tree there, or put like maybe, something fancy, or, pretty, somewhere, or a bench somewhere or something. Anytime you change the lay of the land, it changes the flow of how things, I think that's so interesting. I guess you don't think about that though.
No.
You know what I mean?
And water's amazing anyways. I mean, it's one of those things that can be so destructive also. And I mean, a lot of people see these, town projects and upgrades and stuff. And a lot of what they're trying to do is not just to, make the street prettier or convenience for pedestrians, but it's also to manage the water better. So, I mean, it's one of those that nobody thinks about it, but a lot of it's running, under the ground.
Yeah.
That's why we have storm boxes, and the convenience of that. And then you think, we live where it's cold of a winter. So if all the water stayed on top of the road, it would just be nothing but a big sheet of ice.
Yeah.
So
very scary. We just talked with the trail they're doing, the walking. You just had said you had walked on the new walking trail, and there's a part there, I think it's kind of in Borden area, maybe between Borden and Pekin, that the water had washed the all that they had done, washed it out, and they had to go put more drainage in. And those are things that, like, you kind of live and learn. You didn't realize how much water, I guess, goes there. They didn't. So
right.
They had to go back and do that. So it is very important, to get that and to get it off the road and the drainage. Yeah.
Extremely.
So, and I think that's where sometimes in construction, like we've had a lot of construction in our community, and a lot of times people think that looks like, horrible, or takes a while, but you have to do all of that underneath. That it's not the pretty part,
Right.
but it's the part that's important to make sure it's done right,
No, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, it's Salem's an old town, so I mean, it's one of those that and nobody thinks about it, but something that's been in use for over 100 years. I mean, 100 years is a good life expectancy. So I mean, a lot of stuff needs to be updated, and I think City and Washington County both do a amazing job trying to foresee those issues.
Yeah, and it's amazing how old some of those pipes are, like old.
Yes.
And the blessing that we've been able to to keep them, to use them that long. They've outlived their life beyond. I think some of them even, like, people had to I couldn't believe that they were still going. So it's nice to get new updates on that for sure.
A lot of people don't recognize or realize it, but I always tell it just because I've been in it. You remember the moat that went around the square?
Yeah.
It's still there. Nobody realizes it, but it's still being used. It's just covered up now. So it still is the trunk line around the square, and then goes down Market Street, but it's still there for a fair amount of it, which is a hand-laid rock.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of the things, if you actually see it, it's pretty neat still that it's still in function today. Looks good.
It's funny how we just either drive around, or maybe if you do go to the courthouse, you sometimes you just don't stop and smell the roses. You don't look what things that are still there, or you just kind of just go about your day.
Well, and it's a different breed of people. So you take 100 years ago, just the person in general was so the work ethic was so great. And it's not that we're not great now. It's just it was a different kind of person.
Definitely.
It really was.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, we've got a lot of beautiful, like, I guess, little Easter eggs or eggs or whatever around the whole community. I mean, different things. A lot of times we just drive by and we don't even notice or don't pay attention to. Yeah. All right. So we started out as a digger, and then, which is a tough job, right?
Yeah.
Then so where did we go on to that? Where was your career?
So we actually Temple decided to get into slip lining, which is a culvert rehab. We started a company that traveled. I did that 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Once I had my first child, I quit traveling. I come back to here. Was a foreman for a couple years, superintendent, was a COO for 3 or 4, and now I'm a CEO. So
yeah, that's awesome. Now, going back when you traveled, like, what were some of the places you went?
Surrounding states.
What
Indiana was the state we worked in the most.
It was your favorite?
It was. Yeah, it always is. Yeah, I'm a person that would probably never move from Salem. And you'd say, well, what reasons? Why? It's home for me.
Yeah. There's no place like home.
There's no place like home. That's right, Dorothy. So
yeah.
Wisconsin, Kansas,
Oh, wow.
Iowa, Kentucky, Ohio, surrounding states,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I don't like to drive for vacation anymore. So I've
You've
drove
already
enough
done your
miles
driven.
that,
You're right.
if
you're
we're going
right.
to go very far, I really sweet talk my wife into saying, let's fly.
Let's fly. Let's fly. I
Yes.
love that.
I used to commute every day from like Jeffersonville, New Albany, and like I don't even want to drive after that. I
No,
couldn't
yeah.
imagine driving like 8-10 hours.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And it's
get to a
probably
job
healthy
site.
for everybody because the way down, I'm not too bad. If we drive, like my mother lives in North Carolina. So, I mean, it's one of those, if I have to drive back, I have a heavy foot anyways. So, and a wife and a kid full, or a car full of kids probably isn't the wisest
Yeah.
move. So, when I'm ready to get home, I'm ready to get home.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, probably very wise just to fly. Yeah. So, but going back, but wasn't that cool though to experience and to see what other states, because we know that let's go with Wisconsin, like their snow and their winters are so different. I mean, they're a lot worse than we have. You know what I mean?
Oh, extremely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so wasn't that cool though to learn and to see how an experience, wasn't that look at all the experience you were getting by going and, from Kentucky to Wisconsin to all of the different places you went. Wasn't that cool to see that, I guess?
Yeah. So we did a large project on I-94, which was between Chicago and the Michigan line. It's not very far in the state of Indiana. And lake effect snow. And we don't get it much. We're far enough south that we don't get it, but there would be no forecast of snow that night. And you'd wake up and there's 8 inches on the ground. It's like, I would never live there. Love or money wouldn't matter. It's just, it's
love or money. It's a good thing Jamie stays right here.
No way.
Love or money, it's not going to take you.
No,
I love that.
so it's one of those that it's been a great life. It's one of those things that this company does just about anything in the construction world. Between I've paved asphalt, I've laid concrete, done a lot of pipeline as far as sewer and storm water, site work. There's even building buildings. I've built a couple red iron buildings. So it's one of those things that for the future, a little knowledge and everything never hurt anybody.
No, I agree. No, I think that's fantastic. No, some good seeds that are planted there. So when you're up there though, and you have this lake effect, and so how can you do things? Does your equipment, do you have to have special equipment? How do they do things up there like that?
I'll be honest, they're so used to it. It was like a normal day for them. We were kind of awed at the whole fact that and it's nothing against, us down here.
No.
But we get an inch of snow, and it's like crisis mode for everybody.
Well,
they get 8 inches, and people like little economy cars are flying down the interstate. It's a different world.
Yeah, it is. I will. Yeah. But that's okay. That's all right. So you can't hardly do things. Can you do things like that in the snow like that and everything?
Yeah.
You still function, I guess.
Function just like normal. It's a little more of a headache, but it's not.
Yeah. But like when you're building that, do you have to pour concrete? Do you have to do stuff? And how do they do it in that temperatures like that, I guess?
When you get down to those cold temperatures, there's some things that you can do to ensure success. The concrete company will give you hot water.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can also put additives in the concrete so that it basically builds its heat better. Concrete's one of those things that if it freezes, it basically stops. There's a chemical reaction there. So and they're used to it. So they take the steps. Now, obviously, when it's below zero, you get to an extent there where it makes it almost impossible.
Right.
I always say that the human being's pretty intelligent anyway. So we try to do things that ensure success down where it's a challenge, but still successful.
I have never, that is so interesting. How it's always nice to know how the other people live. How the others are doing it, right? Because you think, how would you do that? Because a lot of times I know in our area, you kind of got to get temperatures right, or, or for some stuff, I've heard just on roads and stuff,
like for the state of Indiana, doesn't matter where you're at, 45 and risings for blacktop. So if you're going to go resurface the road here in front of the station, we're getting ready, middle of December, and they want to resurface it. The state says that if it's colder than 45 degrees, you can't pave today. So I agree with some of that. Some of it's maybe a little on the aggressive side, but on the other side of that, it keeps everybody honest. So I get it.
Yeah. It is what it is. Rules
it is
are rules.
What it is.
Yeah. That's interesting now. And to see, how, and how, you kind of got to work around and which a lot of times in our temperatures, you never know what's going to be.
Right.
It could be 45, or it could be 70 and then like an hour or two later down to 45. It's kind of crazy, isn't it, on that? Yeah.
And I mean, rain affects everything a lot too.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. And if you ask a farmer right now, about all of them will tell you that it's been an extremely wet spring.
Yeah.
So it affects us about the same as far as earthwork moving jobs.
Right.
So if it's extremely wet, you can't get compaction on dirt. You struggle as far as equipment getting through the fields. I mean, it's one of those that it's been a very wet spring for everybody.
Right.
It really has.
Yeah. So what do you like? Do you get like sometimes the equipment stuck?
Very rarely. It has happened a couple times. Yeah, it has happened a couple times. It's not one I want to brag about.
I think it's just being human, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many, all of us have had their car stuck or, or something, right? At some point, it's just human.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get a 50,000-pound track hoe buried. I mean, it's a little harder than just calling the local record guy and saying, "Hey, buddy, come over here and winch me out." I mean, it's a
rats. You got me. Can you call rats?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you help us out there? I love that pull.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a little bit more than what taking some boards and putting behind your tires.
Right. Yeah. You're not just going to shuffle out the back tires and get out. I mean,
or my dad would just grind it. I mean, he would just rock it back and forth.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting out of here.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. He'd flood every time, but it's okay. No, I think it's kind of cool though to hear, because I've not actually, heard some of these stories, and it's kind of funny. I mean, not funny when you're in it. I know Josh is like, not so funny whenever you're the person, but it's kind of funny after the fact, right?
Right.
Yeah. So as far as like with Timble and Timble right now, with the weather, and we've had a lot of rain and and stuff, has it been a little harder to do a lot of the jobs you're saying?
Or just... some jobs are not affected with weather near as much as others. Anytime you have earth moving, the weather affects it more. When you are strictly, there's a lot of times it's a project of nothing but underground pipe, where basically, like a good example is the water line going through the center of town.
Okay.
It can rain today and tomorrow they can still work. They're working on asphalt, so the conditions stay far better. Whereas like we're doing the taxiway for the airport, it's 100% earth moving. So if it rains today, I can't work there for 3 days.
And earth moving, when you're saying that, give us a little bit of the example of what we're talking about. 100% on that.
So earth moving, a good example would be your flower garden, for example.
Okay.
So if you had a little hill in the middle of your yard and you wanted your landscaping rocks flat, you have to take the dirt off the center of the hill and place it somewhere else to get your landscaping stones flat. This is just 100 times larger scale.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. You always want your building on flat ground. So very little flat ground in Washington County. So I mean, it's one of those. To be honest, if you're going to build something, you normally always have to do at least something. Something.
Yeah. It's funny because for years we've had on our station, my dad would, in the heart of the Hoosier Hills, Wslm, and everybody'd say Hoosier Hills, and we're like, come to Washington County. Yeah, you'll see the Hoosier Hills. We do have, there's a hills and it dips and but a lot of times you don't think about it. You just drive it and just go. But when you go to build or do, So how many projects approximately do you have going right now?
I would say 25.
Whoa!
I have 25 projects.
So do you just stop in like do you have like 1, 2, 3? How do you do that? How do you manage to stop in and make sure everything's going?
Some projects are more successful than others. Some, are more of a challenge, have more issues to deal with. Others, run pretty smooth from the start to the end. So, luckily, I've kind of seen everything, so it kind of helps to know which place to be at most. And that's what you try to do, is you try to take on the ones that are the largest challenge for the day. I do pride myself in knowing what every person's trying to do for the day. I don't try to micromanage those people. I like to have the knowledge. I also dispatch all the trucks, the triaxles, the low boys, manage what equipment goes to those jobs. So it makes it nice to know what everybody's goal is for the day, and I can manage my time to that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So if Tracy and I were doing a project, okay, we're building a garden for her. Okay. So you would kind of give us let's say, so Friday, we'd like to see by the end of the day, that dug and maybe those rocks moved. So you kind of tell what maybe your what you'd like to see done that day. Or,
yeah. So the initial, especially on the smaller residential projects, I always go out of the gate, make sure that there's a good understanding of what needs to be done.
Right.
Nobody thinks about it, but locates have become a huge thing that I honestly won't dig unless I have a dig ticket anymore. Which is a dig ticket is the state of Indiana, mandatory that you call in for a locate of the existing utilities in the ground.
You need to say that louder because people don't remember that. You're right. And a lot of people don't. That is so important.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many things in the ground now. About everybody has at least water and electric, no matter what. Natural gas is especially in town. Everybody in town has natural gas to at least for heat, if not more things in their house. And there's so much that's, I mean, we've been as a group been digging for over 100 years, putting utilities in the ground. So there's a lot. There is.
Yeah.
The good old days of just going out in an open field and digging across the field, there's not a lot of them left.
Well, I made the mistake that I didn't know there was a gas line. And I did not know, and I did it worked out okay, but boy, they were not happy with me, but I didn't know that. And I think I'm so glad you brought that up, Josh, because you really have to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And if you have a home and you just don't know that, that the previous owners had a gas line somewhere around or something, digging can be, you don't go out and start digging.
Yeah, and kind of another step that has to be done before you really do much digging is erosion control. So we've been talking about water a lot as far as where water runs, and I always tell the guys, our dirt stays on our job. So a good hard rain, silt will run off the job site. Nobody wants that in their pond, the next door neighbor or down the creek. I mean, on the road where everybody has to drive through it. So erosion control is a big one.
Our dirt stays on our project.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, that ought to be on a t-shirt.
It should. Motto or something.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
So let's say how many, and this is another thing that in our county, we have got huge rocks. How many times are we going to dig and everything is good? You don't have to worry about the lines, but then there's a silly rock right there.
Yeah. So location matters some. Some areas of Washington County are rockier than others. You get to the south side, extremely rocky. Get up on the far north end. I mean, you get close to Jackson County, you get closer into sand dirt. So, I mean, location matters astronomically. I mean, you may dig on one side of the county and you take your grass off and you see nothing but rock. And you may dig in another spot and you can dig 30 feet in the ground and never hit a rock. So location's a lot of it.
Yeah. And then, of course, to the west of our county's more kind of the wetlands, so to speak, more a lot of like, isn't that true? Am I right?
I mean, it's definitely flatter. You get over, Vernon Township, that direction, it's definitely flatter. You go south of Vernon or north of Vernon, it gets hilly. But they seem to be a little flatter for the most part.
It's cool how you know all that, So
a lot of years.
A lot of years
of doing it. So,
it sounds like
helps.
it. Yeah. 17 to be exact.
Yes.
Yeah. You've learned a few things along the way, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So you kind of like, I love that. And then you kind of check in on all of the different things going on, which I would welcome that. I would want somebody, hey, does this look right? Am I doing this right? So I think that's nice. And then as far as like, then the projects, then do you take more on then, or how does that work? How do you like?
Yeah, I take on more than I probably should.
Yeah.
That's just my nature. I can't help it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always say there's not enough time in the day. I always wish I had 2 days to everybody else's one.
Right.
So,
but isn't that a blessing when you look at our community and you look at all the faces that are part of Temple and Temple that you employ? Like seeing, like, I know so many of them.
You're right.
And so many of them have beautiful families and are a huge part of our community. Doesn't that make you happy? Oh,
ecstatic. And I love being a part of it. I love, and I like the challenge anyways. So it's one of those that, I got a good group of guys and ladies. I mean, it's one of those we have. I really enjoy it. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I think so. And I think that like, having, we talked about this, to be able to work in your community and not have to leave and to make, enough wages that you can, keep the lights on, put groceries on the table, and feed a family. A lot of times it takes 2 or 3 people working in a family, which we understand that.
Mhm.
But doesn't that make you feel happy when you see that? I think that to have that many people and that many faces and being a part, because you got to be a huge family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those, we have struggled with help in previous years. So
did you notice that after COVID, a little bit of help, or is that?
Yeah,
I think a lot of people. Yeah,
COVID, I think, definitely affected it some. And then I think the population as a whole, I don't want to say that it's a struggle, but it takes the right person to be outside all the time.
Mhm.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just
No.
it has to be the right personality.
Yeah.
And I'm actually tickled pink. My kids go to West Washington, and I'm very committed with. Not that the rest of the county schools don't matter to me. It's just,
no, right.
So we're actually going to start a class this coming year of operating construction equipment. It's going to be a kind of an overview of a class, but actually one of my employees is going to teach it. So it's one of those that we're going to help supply equipment, try to teach kids, and it's one of those. Everybody's heard of Prosser, which is a technical school for down south. A lot of our kids have been going to it, and they still live in Washington County, but they work down there. Once they go to Prosser, the construction companies from down there pick them up. I never get a chance.
Right.
Yeah, I bet.
So
Yeah,
it's one of
right.
those,
Yeah,
I mean,
I understand that. Yeah,
they're signed on before
location.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that Washington County has a huge amount to offer. I think we're a great community.
Sure.
And I want at least the opportunity to catch, and capture the young people that are growing up and show them that Washington County does have, you can make a good livelihood. Right here in this county. You don't have to go down to New Albany or Clarksville every day and work. And it means the world to me that we do it. I mean, I have 3 kids at West Washington now, a 4th that'll be going in a year. And it's one of those that I couldn't be prouder of it. I really couldn't.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's something that I love that. And I love being involved with the schools. I think that's fantastic. And we do have 3 of the best schools. I'm sorry, I'm choked up over here. But I think, our 3 schools are awesome. And I love this. And I love this program. I'd heard about this program starting, and I love it. I think it's great. And okay, so wouldn't that have been awesome? Let's go back 17 years ago. If you'd have had this program there, or I know you went to Salem, but if you'd have had this in school, this opportunity to have already had master of driving or whatever, working a skid steer or whatever you're doing. I don't know all the equipment. I'm so sorry.
No, and you're fine. Yeah,
whatever. But because knowing how to drive them and knowing how to work them and knowing how to work the lamb, that's huge. I mean, right then.
Yeah, it's a jump start. I mean, you're basically giving young people a jump start to at least this type of business. Yeah. So it's not for everybody by any means, but some, I think it fits very well.
Well, and that's what it's about. You're supposed to, have all kinds of options for, because you never know. Nobody's, there's no two the same, so I love that you have that. They have that option. So what were they even driving a dump truck, or what are name your vehicle or your what's your equipment stuff?
So
I don't know.
As far as the school goes, the school's going to try to pick out on-site projects here, at least this year, that not only benefit the kids as far as learning, but also benefit the campus. So it's one of those that we're going to try to do. He's and I think Keith's great too. Travis Robertson's the gentleman for us. He is very good with kids also. And it's one of those that it benefits the school. Obviously the kids are learning something. I have the opportunity to have a future employee if possible. I mean, I see the advantage for all. If one year nobody did it, it's not that I'm 1 or 2 good ones was worth it for me in the long run anyway.
I agree.
It was one of those that, as far as the types of equipment, the ones that everybody's normally, they see the most, bulldozers,
Bulldozer. Tracy.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you don't want to drive a bulldozer, right?
Traco's high up there that everybody sees.
I didn't know all the names. Okay, now, okay, yes.
Skid steer, about everybody's, because the skid steer is really common for the farmers also.
I was gonna say, I think, and I've been to a skid steer rodeo, so those are pretty common.
Yeah.
Those are pretty fun.
Yeah.
Those are hilarious. No, you don't even know. Yeah, they're fun. But learning how to. You just kind of got to, you just jump in and do it.
Right.
But for those that haven't ever done that, it's quite challenging.
Well, and I'm a firm believer, learn by doing.
Yeah.
You can only talk about something so much. And I also, some people are talented that others just natural talent. Some can get in and have a natural feel for being successful. Some have to really work at it, and that's normal. I mean, it doesn't matter really what you talk about.
Right.
You take somebody out of their comfort zone, they have to work at it harder.
Right. So does a bulldozer, does it have a clutch?
Yeah, it actually does. It has a brake and a clutch that kind of works as the same. So if you push it all the way to the bottom, it'll brake, and then you just push it halfway and it's clutch.
I can drive a clutch. Now I'll burn it up, but I mean I can drive I can drive a stick, but I'll burn that clutch up. I mean I'll just
Yeah, it's a little different than what you're probably used to as far as a vehicle goes.
Yeah.
There's multiple kinds of transmissions. That some are hydrostat, where it's more like your zero turn. The farther you push on the handle, the faster it goes. There's some that, especially the older style, where actually have where you click it in each gear. You don't have to use the clutch to do that. It's more so for stopping and starting, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And what's the speed of a bulldozer?
The newer ones.
I'm wanting to know a lot about the bulldozer. Can you tell?
Yeah, the newer ones. I mean, 5-6 mile an hour is clicking across pretty fast. It doesn't sound like a lot, but
no, I think the momentum you got.
5-6 mile an hour is clicking across pretty fast. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of momentum.
We're gonna go race the bulldozer.
I'm thinking I could see this in my mind. I kind of want to drive one of those. Yeah,
we can set that up.
Yeah.
Make sure it's an open field.
Yes, please give me an open field.
Yeah.
Yes, and let me apologize to everybody in advance. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. No, I think that's fun. What's your favorite? I guess equipment to drive. What do you like?
I have always been a Traco by heart, so it's one of those that I've spent the most time in it by far.
Okay.
Probably by far my most talented piece that I can run myself personally. Probably next would be a grader.
Wait, wait, hold on. Traco, what is that? That got the tracks on it?
Yeah, Traco is what you normally see. So like if you go through the middle of town today and they're digging that water line, that's what's digging the ditch is a Traco.
Okay.
Bucket.
Yeah.
And it's got the little, okay. And knowing how to hit that bucket, that's what it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the true talent is to be able to do all functions simultaneously. So, and that's normally if I'm hiring a new operator, it's the first question I ask is, can you carry grade? So to carry grade, you have to be talented enough to be doing multiple functions at the same time. So that the bucket stays, let's take this table, for example.
Okay.
It stays at the same grade across the table from start to finish. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's kind of like a drummer. I mean, kind of think about the four, keeping the beat, but also, isn't that right? Kind of you really have to be multi-talented.
Yes, you have to be multitasking as you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what are you doing then? So what would those tasks be? You're getting the bucket,
Yeah, so the bucket would be opening, the stick would be coming back, the boom, because there's basically three pieces to a Traco.
Yeah.
You have the main boom, which is what comes off the machine. You have what we call the stick, which goes from that boom down to the bucket, and you have the bucket. So you'd basically be opening the bucket, pulling the stick towards you, and raising the boom at the same time. So as the bucket's coming closer to you, you have to be raising up also. So you'd be doing three functions all at once.
And for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, I understand.
So is that operated on like a stick shift type?
That's joysticks.
Joysticks.
So if you ask me what you'd be doing, your left hand would be going left. Your right hand would be going right and back at the same time. And then it's variable flow. So as you're doing it, doesn't mean that all of you just cram it and it's going to hold level. You actually have to, I'm going to say, feel the machine. You have to feel what it's doing.
Yeah. So you don't even, really I know you're thinking, but you're really not thinking about it. You just do it.
Yeah, that's correct. And it takes time. Like anything, it takes time.
Yeah. It's crazy to think if you were a newbie and you were telling me all this and then let's see what you do. I can't even imagine how horrible it would be for me. You would have to have the patience of Job to train me, Josh Haley.
That's okay.
There's no way.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, let's try this again, Becky. It's midnight, okay? Jamie's called me 5 times wanting to know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to get it. No, I'm serious. That would be a lot, you know, really. Yeah. So then what was the other equipment? There was something else you said then.
A moto grader. I've always enjoyed running a grader. So a grader's where it has the blade. It almost looks like a, trying to think of something to compare it to. It's got a blade underneath of it. They're normally 6-wheel drive. It's a lot of times what you grade out for like large parking lots, highways, larger roads, that kind of thing. We own a couple of them. They're very good for fine grading. If you don't have a lot of stone to move or a lot of earth to move, they make a really pretty pad when they're done.
Okay. That sounds a little bit more manageable. It's a little more.
Yeah, you say that. So most motor.
Oh no.
Yeah, I guess they have 14 levers. So counting the steering wheel, and I mean it's more so like what you're accustomed to. The new ones are joystick, but I mean the functions are astronomical. So the blade will do so many different functions that it definitely takes a minute to get used to. It really does.
Yeah. So when you get new equipment, I mean, like do they make it easier? Like, is there like, there's like, it's not like where it just goes on a remote control, like on your own, you know what I mean? It's not like that.
Yeah. I mean, they've technologies.
I was
no
going to say,
matter
where's
what
our
you talk
technology with
about,
this? Where's this? Yeah.
The original principle behind it hasn't changed a lot in the last few years, multiple years. GPS has become a big thing. So, and it doesn't matter what piece of equipment you talk about, they all have it now.
Okay.
So like let's use the bulldozer, for example. Now they have to where you can set up. It's a lot like when a farmer's planting a field. So you've seen them where they automatics, and they basically get straight with the row.
Love every bit of that.
They hit their button, and it carries the row for them.
Right, sure.
So the principle is true in the construction world also. So if you get in a bulldozer and you have your GPS set up, if you're sitting close enough within line that the computer recognizes it, you can push a button and it'll carry grade for you.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
Now,
so it's constantly adjusting.
It's constantly adjusting what it needs to do. Yep.
That's I love technology on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That would help me out.
I needed that on my shovel last week.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Does it have a radio?
Yeah,
Yes!
most anything you buy now has a radio.
You got a jam one.
And
I was gonna say WSLM. Let's hope. Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things. The newer stuff, air ride seats are a whole lot nicer now than the lawn chairs that was in it before. I mean,
was it really?
No, I mean it's just
like
the
that.
comfort. To be honest, the biggest improvement is that they've had is comfort. It
Okay.
really
Heated
has.
seats. They have heated seats.
They do. The new ones
Oh,
do.
I think I can do this.
Yeah,
Okay.
the new ones do.
Move over, Josh Haley. I might be. Heated seats, radio,
Yeah.
and then a GPS to take it. I can do this.
Yeah, I mean we have a dozer that has heated joysticks now. So,
Get
I mean,
out. Your
so-
hands even. Oh,
yeah,
look
and
at that.
I can't figure out why, because it's cab dozer, so it's not like you're out in the elements. But
Yeah.
I guess you got a heated steering wheel, so
It just makes you feel
same
special.
thing. I
You know,
guess.
Have you ever touched like the heated steering wheels and all of a sudden it's almost like hot? You know what I
Yeah.
mean, it's, when you're not used to it, it's like, oh my goodness.
I was always the person that made fun of them, and the truck I have now has one.
Yeah.
So it's cold. I turn it on every time.
I know.
I don't know why.
I know.
But
No,
I mean,
it's
the
true.
seat's
I
cold and the steering
know.
wheel's cold, and I'll get in it and I'll turn the heated steering wheel on. I'm like, man, this is nice.
I know.
Life's little
Coos.
luxury.
Oh
Yeah, those
man, the
little
little
coos
things.
coos.
It's
I
the
love
little
that.
things.
Absolutely. So with the so we know that I feel like with Temple, this is fair to say, you do commercial, but you also do residential, right?
Correct.
So if someone is thinking about a project or got a project, do you do free estimates and
Yes.
kind of tell me? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a lot of small residential stuff. I even consider ponds. Farmers
That's
field
hard to
tiles,
do.
stuff
Ponds
like
are
that.
hard.
Ponds are hard, especially in the low. And it's back to where we were talking about rock earlier, and location matters. It's huge. And I always use Scott County as an example. You get in Washington closer to Scott, the difference in the clay, you can dig a hole just about anywhere and it'll hold water. Whereas if you go like Beck's Mill in Washington County, you can't hardly get a pond to hold water.
Mhm.
The Churty clay is extremely hard to build a core of a dam. And I mean, there's an art to no matter what you look at.
Yeah.
As far as residential goes, we have several crews. That's all they do is residential. So,
Mhm.
concrete sidewalks, lean-tos. I've got a crew doing a lean-to right now. And it's one of those that I enjoy the small residential projects are more of a challenge.
Sure.
They normally take time that is hard to give, and but the reward, and especially when a homeowner is just so happy the job's done and done
Yeah.
correctly, it's something to be proud of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you live here. So like when you drive by and you see something that you know your crew or you did, I mean, that's got to be very rewarding.
Oh, and it is very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I take it personal, which is probably good and bad. I mean, it's one of those that the reputation means the world to me.
Yeah.
It's one of those that we want to, do extremely good work and succeed and take care of everybody. It doesn't matter whether it is a homeowner or a municipality or a school or the state. It doesn't matter what you talk about. I mean, the quality of work means the world.
Right. Does. Well, and that's cool. Well, and I think you brought up a good point too. You have to do a lot of work with the state. I mean, like you have to do, I don't think people understand some of the behind the scenes that goes on with like just making sure that the state kind of gives you the orders and then you kind of got to, like, here's how we want it. And then you kind of got to do it. Right.
Well, and even some of the residential projects, I mean, you have to get state permits to do certain things. And I mean, it's, there's a lot to it. There really is.
There's a lot of behind the scenes. You just don't just jump in and
there
go.
There is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to disturb more than an acre, you have to get a SWIP plan, which is a whole different permit for how you're going to control your erosion. I mean, there's a lot to it. There really is.
Oh, and that's very confusing too.
I'm not aiming to confuse anyone.
No, I meant Tracy and I, we really don't want to know all that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with I don't know all that. And that's where I would want an expert like you to tell me what. Yeah, Siri. She's like, Siri's going to give us the expert. But I feel like that would where you come into play to tell us, you need to get a permit for that and whatever.
Here's the cost for what permits you need for this project. Yeah. And some people want to know, what is it? What does it entail? And you give what description somebody wants and you move on.
Right. So, well, that's nice to know that, if you can come up and get like a free estimate and then kind of get the plan of action of you need to do this and you need to do that. And this is where to be in compliance and to do it right. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's definitely interesting because I don't think a lot of us know what all goes on into it. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like, just like maybe like on the construction site, how many like employees do you have exactly? Or am I putting you on the spot?
No, you're not putting me on the spot at all. If you considered, everything, I would say we're just right at 150 right now.
150. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I would say we're just right at 150 if you counted everybody.
Everybody going and doing, yeah. Isn't that pretty cool?
It is extremely cool.
Now, do you know all their names?
I do.
I love that.
I try to take pride in it, actually. It's one of the things I try to make sure. A new hire takes me a couple weeks normally, but by
they wear a tag with their name on it for you?
No, I don't have to ask, or I try to come up with a little nickname that's not derogatory in any way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they'll tell me every time what their name is. And after 2 or 3 times, I normally have it.
I love that. Yeah, he calls me Beatrice all the time. My name's Becky.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll answer to whatever.
As long as
some don't care.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. Yeah, as long as you make sure you get my lunch. Unless you're calling me for supper, or something.
Right.
Yeah, make sure you get it right. No, I think that's cool, and I love that. But because I would be that person too, though, that I would want to know all of 150 people's names. You know what I mean? Because, and especially when you're talking with them. When you're teaching, I'm sure that, the new ones are still learning certain things, and it's a learning curve, and I'm sure there's some projects. I think it would be crazy to think that when every project would be a learning project almost, right?
Correct.
Even for you, 17 years in it.
Yeah. I mean, I actually believe that nobody knows everything.
No. Right. And
there's, even for me, there's still a learning curve there. There's still problems that happen from time to time that I haven't seen before. And that's actually partially why I'm in what I'm in. I enjoy the challenge of figuring out whether that is a challenge with the project, a shortage of personnel that has to be covered for the day, or I need 20 dump trucks a day and I have 10. I mean, I enjoy that challenge. So me personally, it's not for everybody. A lot doesn't, a lot of people don't like the stress of it. I always said that I like to think that it was something. You always want to think that you're irreplaceable, that you're, you want to feel important in whatever you're doing. You want to have pride in what you do, and you'd like to think that you make a difference every day.
Right.
So this is the best way I know how to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So like if there was, okay, so let's say, let's do a scenario. So you needed the extra dump trucks. Okay, you had 10 and you need 20. So like would one empty and then go back and then fill it up for another job? I mean, are they going to different jobs all the time?
So I lease trucks some too,
Okay.
where I hire, another company to help.
Oh, that's
like Johnny's Trucking here in the county. We use them a lot. It's
well,
one of
that's
those.
a blessing for them. I mean, too, to utilize.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. I've pulled, I have some operators that also have their CDLs. Sometimes if it matters more to me one thing than another, I'll pull them off what they've been doing to cover somebody else for just today to get, some projects are, it's going to rain tomorrow and we have to get something done, or, there's 100 reasons, but it's nice to have that ability.
Yeah. So no wonder you get up at 4:30.
Yes.
You ain't got. I mean, I don't know why you're even sleeping, Josh, at this point. Really, I think getting all these plans and getting all this together. You got
I don't sleep much.
You got 150 people to control.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
I
right?
don't sleep much.
No, I don't. I don't even know why you bother. Yeah, I don't.
I'll go home tonight and wonder that.
Yeah, I know. Why
am
I even like closing these eyes? Because right? And I'm sure that even like downtime is probably hard for you not to. I mean, to manage and I'm sure like a vacation, it probably takes you 3 or 4 hours to even.
Yes. If you ask my wife, that's a challenge we have. Cause to be honest, it's just not worth it. I take off 2 or 3 days and the headache coming back is so hard on me that, the last vacation they went to Florida. They drove down. I flew down for the weekend, then flew back on Sunday night because it wasn't worth it to me to be gone when we're this busy.
Yeah.
So,
well, I love your work ethic, though. You know what I mean? I do love that. No, I do love that. I like a worker. Yeah, I do think that's good. I'm happy though that you did take at least a weekend and spend some time. I'm also about family too. Well, so I know it's hard.
I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, and I probably should spend more time with the family. But it's one of those that you do the best you can with what you got.
I think it's hard, and I think when you put in a work day, everybody, when you put in a work day, and of course, but you are when you're home, you're full throttle with your family. So I do know that. So and that's important, and that's kind of the way you do, and it takes that, I guess, and keeping up with a lot of people, you're very valuable. I think you're very valuable, and I think that they probably know that too. And yeah. So any new big projects coming up that we can talk about or going on? Yeah,
probably the biggest one that'll affect locally here. The state did let out a project. Everybody's familiar with where Milestone has went from just their Casey's gas station up to the light here at Papa John's.
Yeah,
and then they come through the square.
Yeah.
So the next phase, right now it's already been bid. We are the low bidder, so. It's one of those, it will start just where Milestone ended there at the square.
Okay.
And it is going there at Circle K, Walgreens.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. The mayor's talked about that.
Yeah.
Which I want to say thank you to everybody involved. I know the mayor was it was very important to him to keep the traffic flowing. Mm-hmm. And the traffic has been going. It's amazing how close. I don't know how you feel, Josh, but like your workers, when I drive by, you guys are just like right there, right by the road. I pray for you guys. I'm like, oh Lord, be with them. You know what I mean? Because like they're just like looking at that project, and they're like inches from. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Do you get a little worried about some of that?
Yeah, obviously you always worry about safety.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that means a lot, and there's some crazy people on the road. So I mean, it's one of those.
Say that louder for the people in the back.
Yeah,
we know that.
It's one of those that you always take that risk every day.
Yeah.
We try to do the best we can to manage that.
Yeah.
To make it as safe as possible, and obviously you never hope for anything. So.
Right. No, I know.
Knock on wood, it's been okay.
Well, you guys are very professional. I always get, I think it's the mom in me. It's like,
yeah.
I think the same. I'm like, what if that was my son out
there
working?
I know.
Roadside, I'm creeping through this work site because.
Yeah. Middle of towns always helps. A small town like this, because the speed limit's so slow.
Right.
Where it really worries me is then you're on a state highway and we're putting a new entrance in.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where they're flying by. You can put 20 signs up.
Yeah.
Most of the population recognizes that and uses caution. Mm-hmm. You do have some that just don't care.
And that's sad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 70 mile an hour past you and you're 2 inches off the white line. That makes it a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Well, I think right here in town, I think they've done a fantastic job for keeping the traffic flowing. And I think everybody was happy about that, and I know that was very important for, we got to get places to go and people to see and things to do, right?
Yeah.
We got to get,
The project that's running right now is actually the water line improvements. So,
okay.
And I always give the city of Salem kudos.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that they're getting ready to get a brand new road running right down Salem.
Yeah.
The water line is extremely old. It's past its lifespan by a fair amount.
Right.
What you don't want to do is you don't want to spend all the money to, improve a road, put new sidewalk, new asphalt, and do everything. And then 6 months down the way, you have a 80-year-old water main that has to have repairs done to it.
Yeah.
So you got to dig all that up.
So you have to dig all of it back up.
Yeah.
So the foresight to be planning ahead, start at the bottom, work your way to where you have the finished product. I mean, there has to be some thought involved.
Right. No doubt. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, it's crazy how quick our time goes, Josh, and I appreciate you coming on. And I think that, you and I had spoke about coming on Coffee Club, and I think it was important to show how caring and the vibe of Temple and Temple.
Right.
And I think that was, and I loved your heart. I love when you and I spoke that you just want people to know what all you do. And I think you do have to, we talked about like toot your horn for people to see you coming.
Right.
Dolly Parton says that,
Right.
No, you do have to tell people because we don't know your world. We just hear the name, but we don't realize. And when you see all the faces, 150, beautiful families in our community, working and doing great things. I mean, that's something that should be talked about.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I think you're amazing. And I think keeping up the great work. And if you don't get me in a dump truck, I'm going to be kind of upset. I want to try one of those out. Yeah, I kind of want to see that. Tracy, in my head, I think I can. But
you can do it better.
Yeah.
I have faith in you.
We'll put you in one too. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, I think it's cool. And, I have a lot of little boys that, I play the you have those dump trucks and all of that, I can play trucks. Let me tell you, I can do all this, but you don't realize driving one and all the interior stuff that's going on, what I mean? And the backhoes and all of that and bobcats or whatever you're using, all of that equipment. So keep up the great work, stay safe always, and the whole team and everything. And we appreciate Temple and Temple and beautiful business. And a business has been, how many years has Temple and Temple been around?
78.
Crazy.
Yeah,
78 years.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's very impressive. That speaks volumes.
It does.
Yeah.
It's multiple generations of individuals that and have, they've employed a lot of families through the years.
Absolutely. You think about that.
Yeah,
right?
A lot of families through the years. I mean, it's one of those things to really be proud of. It really is.
You should be. Very much so. Well, we're very proud of you, Josh, and you moved right up the ladder and look where you're at today. So
yeah.
And I like the personal. I like that you're personal with everybody. That's good. That's good. Keep up the great work, Temple and Temple. Appreciate you coming in this morning. And Tracy, you too. And have a good weekend. You got a big weekend plan?
Actually, I've got hay down, so I'm going to try to.
Oh yes.
Do a little farming on the side. So I believe I'm going to be in the field all weekend.
Yes.
More work.
Yeah, more work.
Have that radio on though.
Yeah,
okay.
I will.
That's right. Okay, we're going to keep you entertained this weekend. We also have the Memorial Day program too, and excuse me. Yeah, it is Memorial Day, right? Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, I just thought Memorial. Yeah, sorry, Memorial Day program Monday. So we'll be there too. WSM will be there. So Tracy, you got a big weekend plan?
Well, I was gonna go to a couple cookouts, but since the situation with my dog,
oh yeah,
I probably won't do those now. I did sign up for the Strawberry Festival 5K, so I'm going to do that tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. Well, I cheer you on. Okay, you go, girl.
Yeah.
Is that early morning?
Yeah, it's like 8:00.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you'll do wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Cross that finish line, right? You get a strawberry then?
Yeah, probably.
I think the trophy is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, have a great weekend, and let's thank our sponsors.
We're going to thank Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Rose's, Fox Perlee Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates with Dr. Mindy Gunn, Marshall Monuments, McAllister Land Consulting, First Harrison Bank, Louisville Bats, Schneck Hospital, and Springs Valley Bank and Trust.
And now we want to thank Temple and Temple for being a great sponsor of Coffee Club.
Yeah,
glad to have you aboard. Yeah, come back and see us, Josh. Okay,
I would love to.
Bring one of those operators. Bring somebody that can.
Well, I'll bring somebody next time.
Yeah, bring somebody. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm anxious to meet them. Okay.
Yeah, I can do it.
All right. Have a great weekend. Thanks, guys.